From ESPN, it's the Offshore Professional Tour. The thrilling spectacle of multi-engine powerboats racing on waters all across the United States. Incredible speed, raw horsepower, and the will to withstand the pounding of relentless seas. The thrill of danger combined with the excitement of competition. The Offshore Professional Tour. The Florida Keys and Key West present the New Orleans Lake Fest Offshore Challenge.
And Art Ekman, you said it, we do have a storm course today, and here's the reason why. Winds from the southeast 22 to 29 knots, and the seas 4 to 6 feet in parts of this Lake Pontchartrain. The fleet will start just off the West End Marina near checkpoint number 6 and head east along the shoreline. Spectators will have a great view of the action all along the southern half of this course as the race boats will pass as close as 350 feet to the seawall. Once past checkpoint number 7, it's northeast to checkpoint number 8, 300 yards off the lakefront airport pier. And low-flying aircraft better look out for high-flying race boats. From checkpoint 8 south to checkpoint number 1, just off of South Shore Harbor Marina. And then on to checkpoint number 2, near Edge Lake Canal. And from here, it's into the rough water 2.5 miles out to checkpoint number 3. Then comes a 7 3/4 mile straightaway to checkpoint number 4. And don't look for any speed records here, though, because the seas are really kicking up. After the long, rough straightaway, it's around checkpoints 4, 5, and 6. Back along the shore and around the airport again for the finish, 1 mile north of checkpoint number 1. Because of rough conditions, the Superboat and Open Class fleets will make the 5-mile start sprint plus 5 21.5-mile laps for a total of 112.5 stormy miles on Lake Pontchartrain.
We're lucky in a way today. New Orleans has had more than its share of bad weather, getting a year's supply of rain in 3 months. The many fans are taking advantage of no rain today and one of this area's favorite attractions. Final preparations have taken place with the Spirit of the Amazon right here, and we are ready for racing's most famous phrase.
Gentlemen, start your engines.
The Superboats are waiting for the start of the 1991 New Orleans Lake Fest Offshore Challenge. And one of the pioneers of the sport, certainly the Superboat class and the OPT, is from right here in Cajun country, Al Copeland. And Jim, does he throw a party?
He surely does. There's Al Copeland, his lovely new bride, Luann. They host just a few of their friends. How about 200 strong or better of the OPT entourage? Drivers, owners, crew members. Everybody has a good time. Food is good, big band, lots of dancing, and just in general a good time had by all at the Copelands.
But now, Jim, it's down to serious business under challenging conditions as we take a look at the Superboat starting lineups.
The Popeyes Diet Coke boat will try for a start today to at least qualify for the coming World Championships. Elsewhere in the Superboat class, Campbell Racing, Randy Garcia teaming up with Throttleman Dan Campbell. Bud Dry with August Bush IV and Jeff Sofer. Gentry, Turbo Eagle, Tom Gentry and John Connors teaming up in that boat. Circus with Steve Dorchich and John Bruno. Art?
And Powerboat Marine with Russell Lookin and Jim Dyke. Next in our starting lineup, the Spirit of the Amazon looking for their 3rd straight win. Bobby Moore at the throttle with Ike Batista. Little Caesars Pizza, could this be the V-bottom day with Peter Markey and Trey's Martin? Jaguar Marine, number 77, spun out and flipped in qualifying. Nothing short of a miracle to get Jaguar back in the water. We expect a start and maybe a lap from Jaguar Marine, Jim.
And here they come, the start of the 3rd race of the OPT season 1991. And what a challenge this is going to be.
Stay out here a little bit, Ike. Yeah.
We're inside the Spirit of the Amazon.
Stay out here a little bit, Ike.
I will.
Stay right out here. Stay out of traffic that way, okay?
Okay.
Early strategy from inside the cockpit of the Spirit of the Amazon, as right there they battle for 3rd with Circus. Here are the Jackrabbits, the raspberry-colored Little Caesars Pizza out in front of Tom Gentry's Turbo Eagle. Now, Gentry's Eagle has certainly got the power, but this is one of the best starts of the season for Little Caesars Pizza. Tom Gentry, this year's boat, full of fuel, is as fast as the craft that he set the world record in for the mile at 148 plus miles an hour. Here's Spirit of the Amazon, Jim.
And looks like he's running a lot smoother than the two in the lead. Maybe the strategy is to lay back. Let's take a look-see attitude. I don't think that Bobby Moore is going to lay back too long. He's going to get a little antsy as we look at our two leaders, Little Caesars and the Gentry Turbo Eagle. Now let's go upstairs to Rich Lures in Chopper 1.
All right, Spirit of the Amazon is making a great big move. They've held back for a little while, but here he comes. Look out. And there goes Bobby Moore and Ike Batista right out front. They're making no bones about it. They want the lead in this race right now. They've gone right by Peter Markey and right by Tom Gentry. Gentry's throttled up a little bit to keep him in sight, and so is Peter Markey. Now it's a three-boat race. It's a mainstream, full-bore, super boat race with three contenders right now on the first straightaway coming down to the airport, coming down to the eastern turn.
What a great three-boat battle for the lead, Jim. And the cornering might be a big key in this trio.
Well, the Raspberry boat at the top of your screen has got the inside track for a right turn. He is a deep V. He'll take it easier. Watch these catamarans. They could flat spin out if they don't slow down. So the advantage will go in turn number 1 to the Little Caesars Pizza boat.
Peter Markey, he can just cut through that corner, and watch him as the red buoy is the corner mark. Tom Gentry and then Spirit of the Amazon is way out wide on the turn, but he might be able to catch up in the flat. Welcome back to the New Orleans Lake Fest Offshore Challenge. Art Eckman, Jim Hendrick, and Rich Lures. We're getting ready now for the start of the open class boats, Jim.
And leading the way, US 1 Dirty Laundry with Joe Bach and Harold Smitty Smith teaming up. The Excalibur Hotel Casinos from Las Vegas entry, Bob Kaiser and Errol Lanier. The smallest boat in the fleet, Photo Finish, John Shields and David Windmiller.
And for this race, the Thoroughbred Ferrari team, as the points going to Manny Fernandez's quest for a national title. 41st Airborne with Rocky Summerall and Blair Blestill. AES Motorsports, they've got the power and experience in the cockpit for a young team. Ohio Steel with John Rabin and Charlie Hogan. Here's the start of the open classification. Now the V-Bottoms taking an early advantage as we expected. Ohio Steel, the black boat, 41st Airborne. Toward the bottom of the screen there. Dirty Laundry, the red boat, but look at Excalibur, the black boat up top. And
AES Motorsports, way at the top of your screen. He's going to come on strong, too. What a start we've got going right now.
Look at that start. AES Motorsports putting the throttle down.
A beautiful sight as we start out with the open class here in New Orleans. And it's anybody's race, and these guys are going to have to really watch. This water is a rough course right now. The lake, as we said earlier, will change from a smoother type water to a real rough type of course. Near the bottom of your screen, coming on, Dirty Laundry. Here is Joe Mock and Harold Smitty Smith going to pour the coals to it.
They don't want to let AES Motorsports get too far away because Alan Shapiro and Joey Impressia had a very impressive performance in the last race, and that could develop into one of the great rivalries of this season, Jim.
AES out of your screen off to the left, and here comes the Dirty Laundry up into the wake of that boat. He's going to challenge right off the bat here on this first leg with the skyline of New Orleans, Louisiana in the background.
That Coupe hull really taking this rough water very well. Oh, look out!
Holy cow, he bounced off that stern twice and came down and hooked to the left. Let's take a look at that slow motion if we can.
Dirty Laundry coming very close to a blowover now.
See him launching? Hits the stern drives, should come down, but doesn't. Catches a gust of wind, stays up, comes down hard on the right sponson, and hooks left.
Let's go inside the cockpit. Very scary moment. Look at the horizon.
It disappears. But more or less, look at the expression of these guys. That never changed.
It disturbed our camera more than it disturbed the veteran Smitty Smith and Joe Mock, that's for sure. 41st Airborne, you see in the middle of your picture, and here's our leader in the open division, AES Motorsports. Alan and Joey teaming together this year. They know the competition in this class is really tough.
Well, I feel that all the boats in our class are pretty evenly matched. None of the races so far this year have been a drag race. That's really when you're going to tell who's going to have the fastest boat. Right now, it's a real throttleman's race up to this point.
Oh, they're running smooth, Jim. Not just with power, but look at the way they're taking the rough condition.
And they're now coming into that right-hand turn, and look who's coming on. Here is your second and third place boat side by side. 41st Airborne on the top of your screen. The red boat, the boat that almost lost it. We're looking inside the boat right now. Dirty Laundry.
What a great recovery for this crew to challenge for second place with the 41st Airborne. Dirty Laundry doesn't want AES Motorsports to take away early. Here's Ohio Steel. And this is the same fountain design that won this race last year.
Ohio Steel currently in fourth place. And the fifth place boat is the smallest boat, as we said, in the fleet, Photo Finish.
Photo Finish, fast, but get yourself strapped in tight if you're in that crew, that's for sure. Back to the Superboat competition, we've got a two-way battle underway for first place. Gentry's Turbo Eagle in the bottom of your screen, and Spirit of the Amazon up top. Peter Markey moving back just a little bit in third as these 50-footers take these waves, and they're even getting jarred. This Gentry boat performs great at all out speeds. Their problem really has been in the 90-mile-an-hour range under rough conditions because the reduced speeds have put additional stress on the drives, causing all kinds of adjustments. Look at the wonderful trim of the Spirit of the Amazon. We now have a three-way battle in the Superboat class. Let's go to Rich Lures.
And here comes Little Caesar's Pizza again. Peter Markey barreling along. 3 votes across. V-Bottom can stay with the Cats today. We've talked to Trace Martin about this on many occasions. They feel in the rougher water that big 47-foot Apache can hang in there with the big Cats. This is the break they've been looking for.
2 different style catamarans, and right in the middle, a deep V-hull, all battling for the lead here on Lake Pontchartrain.
And all, Jim, with very, very impressive speeds considering the rough conditions of Lake Pontchartrain. Gentry Eagle is our leader. Look at that, averaging 88.3 miles an hour. Amazon and Little Caesars 2 and 3. Our leader in the open class, AES Motorsport, also with an impressive 87.3 average.
And Dan Campbell showing his best ever in OPT racing, but look who's coming on.
The Spirit of the Amazon, Ike Batista and Bobby Moore, as speeds now start to look forward to 100-mile-an-hour average as they're getting up into the high 90s. Spirit of the Amazon on the right in your picture, the lower portion of the screen, and Dan Campbell up top.
So Campbell slips back to third as we go inside the second place boat, Spirit of the Amazon.
Oh, Tom Gentry had to go down off plane now. That'll take them out of the lead, of course, but don't underestimate the power of that boat coming back. You know, once you stop those big boats, it's tough to get going again.
Circus Hotel Casino Entry is currently running in fourth place and doing a fine job today in this rough water. Powerboat Marine has made a power change since the Cocoa Beach event. They're currently running in fifth place, running with Burt Cruiser engines. Our sixth place boat is the Bud Dry with August Bush to fourth and Jeff Soper. And so far, August is showing his best all season, but he's concerned about today's conditions.
Well, we're hoping with the shallower water, the waves will be a little closer together. We can stay up on top of them, but we'd like it to be smooth, but we're not going to have that chance. But we'll do the best we can with what we have.
Well, Jim, I'm impressed with the smaller boats having to play it safe when Mother Nature really is their big obstacle, while the bigger boats battle up front right here. Spirit of the Amazon picking up now, putting it down against Peter Markey's Little Caesars Pizza. Spirit of the Amazon was hanging back.
Does he feel like you feel like he's toying with these guys? He goes from first to third to second, back to first. He's challenged you right here again.
But, Jim, they're approaching another turn. This could be really tight.
Not only tight, but looks like he's going right through the weight of the Little Caesars. He does. Without the canopy, that would be one wet crew.
Little Caesars Pizza taking the advantage on the turn, taking over the lead in the Superboat class.
Little Caesar showing very well today. Ike Batista keeping pace as we're in the cockpit now of Spirit of the Amazon. Let's go upstairs to Rich Lures.
Patiently stalking like a vulture comes Ike Batista and Bobby Moore. They've cut the distance down on Pete Markey to about 300 yards, and they're closing in on him, zeroed in on him, focused on him, intent on bringing themselves right up to the lead, getting right back to the point they were in prior to their navigational problem. Patiently using the awesome speed and handling of this boat, this 50-foot Cougar, to kind of reel in their opposition.
Thank you, Rich. Am I right or wrong? Is the speeds, because the Amazon is pushing Little Caesar, are the speeds rising?
They sure are. Little Caesars is doing a great job as they're looking for their best finish since the third place in the opening race of the season. Yes, they are. 92.7 miles an hour for Little Caesars in the lead. And our open class leader, AES Motorsports, 88.1 miles an hour. Phenomenal. For Peter Markey and his Little Caesars Pizza crew than to be out in front of Spirit of the Amazon here at Checkpoint Free. They're racing hard, but safety is a big consideration, Jim.
Unlike most forms of motorsports, art, offshore racers compete on the constantly changing surface of the seas. This presents several unique situations the crews must face in the event of an accident.
In offshore powerboat racing, there are 7 potential mechanisms for accident. The first is the launch, trip, and stop. This is where the boat launches off of the first wave, skips the second wave, catches the transom on the third wave, forcing the bow down deep under the fourth wave. The second mechanism is the launch, hook, and barrel roll. This is where the boat launches off of a wave, peels the air out from between the sponsons, and then lands on one side, hooks the sponson, and barrel rolls. The third mechanism is the kite. Here air is packed underneath the boat, and the boat takes off like a kite and flops over backwards. And then we have the spin out. This is where, going around a corner, the rear end comes around the front end, and the boat then hooks and flops over in a turtle position. Then we have hull failure, which is very rare in this sport due to the construction of our hulls. And then collision. Collision is always a potential in the milling area at the start of each race. Fire, the final mechanism, very rare due to the safety fuel cells and the fire suppression systems on board all of our racing craft.
And for your information, every crew member walked away okay after those accidents.
And here's an example, Jim, of today's action photo finish. Took a stuff. They went under, but no injuries, and hopefully they'll be ready for the next race. Oh, what a competition here in the open class. 2 40-footers battling it down the shoreline. Dirty Laundry, the red boat. AES Motorsports as well. Look at him go. He's got the power.
This is not an easy course, Lake Pontchartrain. Joe Mock, prior to the race, was concerned about the number of turns.
Well, today we got a lot of turns. I think there's 56 turns in the race course, but we got the same basic conditions, maybe rougher than Cocoa Beach because the water's more confused and there's less rhythm in Lake Pontchartrain. Supposedly we have 3 to 4s and occasional 5 or 6 out there.
You've got a lot of turns today, as you said. Now, you're out there with some very fast boats, and they seem to get faster each race. What goes through your mind with boats on either side of you, tight turns, and choppy water?
Well, fortunately today, the turns won't be quite as tight, and we'll be coming into them slower, so it'll be a little easier to maneuver these turns in the sloppy water. But if we had flat water, it would be extremely hard to maneuver these turns at 110 or 120 miles an hour.
AES Motorsports, they took a second at Marathon, a third in Cocoa, and they're in good position for a possible victory, their first of the season right now. Here's evidence that this could be the rivalry of the year. Joey Impressor, the throttle man, takes this rivalry into consideration when he plans the strategy.
Playing the cat and mouse game is the biggest game out there right now. Joe Mock with Dirty Laundry has probably got one of the fastest boats in the class, probably the fastest boat in the class. And most guys are going to probably let him set the pace. Even though Harold is pretty smart, he'll probably let other guys set the pace. I think Joe Mock will be the key thing in this race.
Behind Dirty Laundry and AES Motorsports, in third place, Excalibur now. In their last race, Bob Kaiser and Errol Lanier at Cocoa Beach, something went wrong with the brain box that regulates the electrical functions. But they're running smooth, Jim.
Yes, they are running very, very well right now and taking the water in leaps and bounds, but coming down in the right attitude. Looking at our leaders, Dirty Laundry doesn't seem to be riding as well as AES Motorsports at this point. They may have a problem somewhere along the line. It looked like perhaps the stern drives. I'm not sure. He leaps out of the water, comes down to the right attitude, Joe Mock and Smitty Smith. But I believe there is a problem with the stern drive on the port side. Yes, it is flopping. It is flopping. Let's go up to the helicopter for a closer look with Rich Lures. Rich?
The port drive on the Dirty Laundry is very loose. The trim the system seems to have come loose in there, a little air in the system or whatever, but the drive is, as you can see, just wagging in the wind as they go airborne. That is really going to affect the handling on that boat. What a problem like that will do is make it much more difficult to trim the boat for Smitty Smith in there. And when you have problems trimming the boat takes a lot more abuse than it would if you're able to balance her out properly. So he's got to try to baby this thing to the finish line and still fight off his nearest challenger, which is obviously Alan Shapiro. Joe Impression, throttling the AES Motorsports, is just sitting right next to Dirty Laundry.
And it's obvious from that angle that AES Motorsports can't see the problem. They'd be stepping on it a little bit more. Here's our leaderboard for the Superboats over 100 miles an hour. Spirit of the Amazon leading, Jim.
Yes, in an open class, AES with an 80.3 average. Speeds are very, very high for this type of water.
3 900 horsepower turbocharged CNG engines in that Little Caesars boat. Trace Martin has safely taken the V-bottom to new heights with the new turbochargers. He's led a team of workers to get the job done.
A lot of people go out there racing, and I know they try real hard to win races, and they're out there running around the course, the owners, the drivers, and the navigators, and they're getting all the credit for winning the racers. But everybody forgets about the mechanic and the rigger that's sitting back at the shop, working all weekend, working all night, and his family's upset and mad at him about it. And then he has to come here on the weekend, too, and leave his family behind. And these guys put their families behind just to get these boats running, and they don't even get the thrill of riding it. I think these guys deserve a real hand. These are the guys that really make these boats work.
Stay this way a little.
Bobby Moore directing Ike Batista in Spirit of the Amazon. It's amazing this far into the race that we have such a close battle for first. Little Caesars and Spirit of the Amazon. Who's holding back? Who's simply hanging on?
And we have a similar battle for third place, approaching checkpoint number 8, the airport pier, the smoothest part of the course, if you will. 2 40-foot superboat skaters, the Circus Circus and Powerboat Marine. Steve Dorsage in the Circus Circus has a lot to consider when locked up in a tight duo.
Well, you're very busy, believe me. You're having to look way up ahead of you for any troughs, dips in the water. You know, you got to keep that boat level, keep it straight so you don't interfere with any other drivers. You know, we're all professional drivers out here, and you know, with this wind condition and rough seas, it can really whip you around in different directions.
It's rough on these 40-footers, no question about it, Jim, but they're giving us a great competitive race for third place.
Yes, they are, and they really... Whoa, we've got a problem here with Campbell's entry. Looks like he's slowed way down, Art.
A lot of wetted surface right there, and Campbell has slipped back a bit. He can't quite get up, but look at Gentry. Gentry is back up on plane after having a tough time earlier in the race.
Well, he led part of the early race and challenged, and all of a sudden went down. It took him a lot of time to get that heavy machine back up on plane. It cost him dearly, but he's back in the hunt.
Little Caesars Pizza, Spirit of the Amazon, with a slight lead on the raspberry-colored boat.
Now let's take a check at our leaderboard. First of all, in Superclass, a little over 100 miles an hour for Amazon with Little Caesars on his hip. In the open class, AES still leads Dirty Laundry at an average of almost 81 miles an hour.
Welcome back to the New Orleans Lake Fest Offshore Challenge. Superboat class, Little Caesars Pizza, the V-bottom out in front. The big catamaran, Spirit of the Amazon, in second with a tremendous attitude.
The boat is so well balanced that, you know, we don't kick up so much, and that's the main reason why it looks from the outside it's so easy. But, I mean, there's a lot that we do in the boat to make it run like that.
One thing they didn't have to do was put trim tabs on the back. It's been so well balanced as it fights with Little Caesars Pizza now and picking up a little bit, Jim.
Looking at our third place boat, Powerboat Marine has outlasted Circus Circus at least in this point of the race and has taken over undisputed possession of third place. Meanwhile, Steve Dorsage and John Bruno are settled into fourth place. We've had some attrition in the open class, very little in the Superboat class. Jaguar Marine made a start. Popeye's Diet Coke did not start, and amazingly, the rest of the Superboat fleet is still running in rough water with 4 boats out in open class.
In our open class, Our traditional battle continues right now. Oh, look, and taking the inside route. AES Motorsport on Dirty Laundry. But Dirty Laundry puts the power down.
What great action! You saw him sneak right in there. Kind of surprised, I think, the Dirty Laundry team, but they recovered very nicely, thank you.
Like the foxes they are in strategy, Harold Smith on the right, Joe Mock on the left. Dirty Laundry versus AES Motorsports. Let's go to Rich Lures.
Now, considering the conditions, considering the damage to the drives of the Dirty Laundry, it's amazing that he's able to keep up this pace. It's also very interesting the way that the AES Motorsports, Alan Shapiro and Joey Imprescia, have just welded themselves to his hip, as if they're 100% sure that they can pass him in the final lap.
Our Zenith Data Systems timing just a tick under 80 mile an hour for the leader now, Dirty Laundry, as he's taking the lead from the AES Motorsports.
Excalibur in third place. They're doing everything they can to keep this boat up in third place. Bob Kaiser and Errol Lanier. It's been a long time since the two have been on the same lap as the leaders in the final stages of a race.
Pro 1 Agitator is leading right now with the Dunnemans, Allen and Kirk.
The 32-foot skater, they're looking for their third win in 3 races this year in their first year of OPT action. Then in Pro 2, we've got Mantha with Scott Duvall at the throttle and Fred Green, the driver. After a second in the opener and a win at Coco, they're looking for another checkered flag.
And now we're back to the Superboats. It is Spirit of the Amazon coming up hard. He's starting to drive. He's starting to drive. Looks like with a lap to go, he's going to make his move after battling in this entire 112 miles. Look at what we're going to see right here.
Oh, my goodness. Spirit of the Amazon and our onboard camera. Look at how relaxed Ike Batista on the right looks. And look at how that boat is trimming.
102.3 average for the Superboat leader. Dirty Laundry averaging almost 81 mile an hour in the open class.
Spirit of the Amazon, our leader, unleashing over 4,000 horsepower. They've gone from like 96 miles an hour to over 100 miles an hour average on this rough terrain. Little Caesars Pizza in second place, looking for their best finish of the year, Jim.
And they've done a wonderful job of giving competition to Ike Batista and Bobby Moore here today. Powerboat Marine currently running in third place.
Really, it's another success story for Jim Dyke and Russ Wilkin, that's for sure, after a 4th place at Marathon and a 2nd in Coco. Dan Campbell, they've had their problems today, but they certainly have hung on. Got to give them credit. Looks like they'll finish this race, as will Tom Gentry in the Gentry Turbo Eagle.
They were battling for first place earlier in the race, had to make a course correction, bogged down, took them a long time to get on top, but they're in 5th place right now.
Currently in 6th place, the Circus Circus. Now, what these guys could do on flat water, well, I want to see that when we get to some flatter courses, because they've done a wonderful job in these rough conditions, as has Bud Dry, one of their most impressive performances of this season.
Yes, both boats are 40-foot skaters in the Superboat class, and they are really coming on strong.
As the Superboats are really well defined, the open class is still up for grabs. Now, what's this? AES Motorsports toward the top of your screen against Dirty Laundry. They're in open water between checkpoint 4 and 5. It's going to get hairy, Jim, because they look like they're getting closer and closer.
Our onboard cameras show that Joe Mock has picked his line of sight the way he wants to go in this very tight race between these two fine competitors.
AES Motorsports took a 3rd in the last race at Coco, but they were lucky or unlucky, whichever way you look at it. They had a universal joint that broke through the drive shaft housing, and it was lucky that they didn't punch a hole in the boat, but they took a 3rd. This race could come down to luck, Jim.
Yes, it could, and look at this boat. Best it's run in a long, long time. Bob Kaiser, Errol Lanier, Excalibur, hanging right in there with a fine showing.
Oh, this is setting the scene for a great last lap. Dirty Laundry, here comes AES Motorsports to regain the lead on the inside lane. They've changed lanes in this race.
It's a seesaw battle all the way, and look at Joe Mock fight that wheel. And, of course, Smitty Smith very calmly handling the throttles. And that inside lane taken by AES Motorsports at this point, Art, because he might have changed, he wants to be on the inside for that tight left turn at checkpoint number 5.
Well, strategy is the essence right now as they get toward that turn buoy, because it's positioning and how you come out. They're getting awfully close as they go by the buoy, Jim.
And the Amazon, with Ike Batista and the veteran throttleman Bobby Moore, has the checker flag in sight, and look at the jubilation inside that cockpit.
Well, they've become a dominating factor this season for the Brazilian and his throttleman boat builder, that's for sure.
95.63 mile an hour average speed for the Amazon for over 112 miles. And a third straight OPT win on 1991 for the Amazon team.
AES Motorsports currently in the lead as they go down the final stretch. But look at Dirty Laundry. Dirty Laundry is putting the pedal to the metal right now. Joe Mock and Harold Smitty Smith. This is going to be a great finish. I don't know what it would be like without a last lap finish for Dirty Laundry that makes excitement for all the racing fans. Last year, they just barely beat out Special Edition. They're now trying to catch up with AES Motorsports in the final moments of this race. And who can forget the disappointment for Dirty Laundry in the last lap of the first race of this season when a 50-cent part broke and they did not take the checkered flag. That was at Marathon. But this is their quickest lap of the race. Can they catch him?
The Superboat class already decided, and now the Open class is about to be decided. Look at these two leaders in Open class go!
Dirty Laundry taking the lead away from AES Motorsports. They'll have one more turn, turn number 8, and then a short sprint to the finish and the checkered flag. Can Alan Shapiro and Joey Impressia catch up with Dirty Laundry now?
Look at these guys bouncing around. What goes through their minds? You know the adrenaline is flowing. They know the checkered flag is waiting. This is competition spirit at its very best. And look at Dirty Laundry bounce through that turn number 8, going sideways, biting in. And here's your second place boat, AES Motorsports.
Boy, they just reached out and grabbed that corner.
Now they're going down to the finish line, the final straightaway, and it looks like it's going to be Dirty Laundry all the way from this point on.
Dirty Laundry, their second first-place finish in a row after a 4th place at Marathon, and AES Motorsports, well, they've taken a second, a third, and now a second.
And a fine showing for Excalibur, 3rd place in this rough water event.
In Pro 1, it was Agitator, their 3rd win in 3 races, followed by Red Crane and Joe Jacobson's Skater Express, their 2nd race in a row, being in the runner-up spot.
In Pro 2, Scott Duvall, Fred Green, Robert Reynolds, all team up in the Manor Racing Craft to win Pro 2. Can't touch this 2nd, Splish Splash 3rd, average winning speed a little over 56 mile an hour. Now let's go down to the winner's dock, the Spirit of the Amazon, and Art Ekman with the winning team.
Ike, was a little reminiscent of your first win on OPT Tour up there in Lake Michigan where it was pretty bouncy?
Yes, well, we remembered Lake Michigan here today, definitely.
Bobby, you had a great rivalry going out there with the V-Bottom.
Yeah, well, it was a great race today with Peter Markey. We could really pull him, but we kind of cooled it the first 3 laps, and then we figured we'd really, on the 4th lap, we'd put the hammer down and go by him.
They can really cut the corners, as we mentioned, I think we saw in the 2nd lap, Ike. He cut right through you.
Yes, he did, yes, absolutely. Well, the V-Bottoms have an advantage in the turn, no doubt.
How did it feel out there, Bobby, overall?
It was good. It was a little nasty, but it was okay for our boat. I'm sure the smaller boats had a difficult day, but it was good for us.
A 284-point lead after 3 races for the Amazon over Powerboat Marine Product Entry, who finished 3rd today. Let's go down to the winning dock of the Open Class boats.
Joe, last lap victory again, at least a close victory. It's kind of a trademark here in Lake Pontchartrain for your team.
Well, at least it's a victory. Probably a little more lead this time than last year, but we had some problems early in the race, and Smitty's more aware of the problems than I am, so he can probably tell you what happened.
What about those problems, Smitty?
We lost trim on the first lap. We stood it up real high, and I'm not sure what broke yet, but we lost the trim on the port engine. So we couldn't get the boat running all day. We couldn't get it to accelerate, and we kept landing on one side all day. And we're very fortunate to win today. We had plenty of speed today, but we couldn't use it very well. And we just went ahead and bit our tongue a little bit and went for it there at the end.
Joe, what a great rivalry is coming about now with AES Motorsports. They put on a good challenge.
They certainly did. They run very hard in the rough, and they were a handful. I think they'll be a handful all year.
Good to have the lead in points this time of the year, Joe?
Yes, it is. It's quite a change.
After 3 races, a mere 61-point lead for Dirty Laundry over AES Excalibur, not too far behind.
And Jim, our Florida Keys, Key West, key maneuver of the race with the second consecutive race. Another come-from-behind victory for Dirty Laundry, a last-lap win. Oh, they had several key maneuvers throughout the race, concealing their condition earlier in the stages, but then they had what it took at the finish to take the checkered flag. Congratulations to Joe Mock and Harold Smitty Smith.
Our next event will be on Lake Michigan, just north of Chicago, Illinois. And that Lake Michigan can really be rough, Art, and I'm looking forward to it.
And so am I, Jim. The first three events in the OPT season, the greatest competition offshore fans have seen in quite a while. Art Ekman for Jim Hendrick and Rich Lure saying thank you for being with us from New Orleans. This has been a production of IPI Sports in association with ESPN.